Welcome to this video where we talk about the two legendary investors, billionaires, and head of the two most craziest, biggest investment houses in the world, Larry Fink from BlackRock, as well as Ken Griffin from Citadel, okay? Two billionaires telling about the future of Wall Street. Here we dive in.
Welcome to the game, I'm the wolf of Dubai.
Welcome to a brand new vlog. If you don't know who I am, my name is Danny. I'm looking for stocks that can go up 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x. We talked about Bitmine when it was just like a $30 company. Now it's already $40. It was already 75, right? So it's a nice volatile ride here. This is not my first rodeo, okay? I invested into Tesla, Nvidia, Robinhood, and so on. And my subscribers bought even houses and apartments. So if you are interested, then make sure to subscribe to both of my channels and also X10. Now, if you think this is just the beginning, then you should be ready for this interview. This is like a conference where the two biggest guys of Wall Street in the financial world talking about everything that is important for Bitmine. We cut it out. So before we diving into that, remember, I never advertise any other product here on this channel, just my own X10daytrading.com, because we have something that nobody even did ever in the financial space. We developed a software that we call the AutoPilot. The AutoPilot copies all our trades of our professional day trading team and sends it directly into your portfolio. This is how it looks like. You switch it on before the market opens. And then also what you do is you just make sure to switch it on every single day. That's all. That's all what you need. We want to grow your portfolio between like 8 to 15% per month. And that means that if you start with $10,000, you should be somewhere at around $58,000 in the first 12 months. If this is interesting, schedule a call with me personally. And I see you obviously for the call itself. And let's dive into the first club.
You talk about changing market situation. Of course, you navigate through these changes very well and then becoming what you are today. But we are now, perhaps like sometime in the past, seeing evolution of new asset classes, new phenomena like meme stock and crypto and the euphoria on AI investments. And you talk about market rationality in the past. So do you see the current situation, the pretty strong investment in AI, so to speak, and really something that really leave the market a little bit less rational? And then how would investor see this and navigate this? And everybody's worried about missing the opportunity, missing the big boom. But again, the valuation, the amount of investment is really mind-boggling. And what do you think? Crypto, AI, and all that?
Well, I think markets tend to be most irrational in their extremes, in the heights of a bull market and in the depths of a bear market. And right now we are very deep into a bull market in many of the major economies around the world. There's a sense that very little can go wrong, and there's great enthusiasm amongst investors. So in some sense, your speculative fevers, your FOMO, fear of missing out, will from time to time triumph common sense. And regretfully, humans will exhibit the same behavior in a bear market. They'll tend to panic out of very good investments at the very wrong moment. These are the behaviors that we as people have. And again, they tend to be exempt or magnified at the two extremes of the market cycle.
Okay. Now, I turn back to Larry. We just mentioned briefly about the hype about crypto and all of that. I know BlackRock and you have some view about crypto, but you're really into tokenization, and you feel that tokenization has the future. How do you link the two, and how do you see tokenization being something that might rewrite the kind of rules for financial markets and financial transactions going forward?
So most of BlackRock's business is a business of hope. You know, why would anybody invest for a 30-year outcome like retirement, unless you're hopeful that in 30 years the outcome is better than keeping your money in a bank account? And so I look at everything we do is around giving hope. And I do believe hope prevails in most circumstances. You know, if you go back to even the year 2000, and you invested in equities, let's say the S&P, And then there was a 40% downdraft in 2001. But if you invested in equities in 2000 and kept it until today, your compounded return would be about 8%. So despite the financial crisis, despite the dot-com boom, despite COVID, and if you kept your money in a bank account, you would earn 1%. So I just start with that framework that most of the foundation of BlackRock is to try to give hope to people about the ability to invest over a long horizon. And I am an optimist that I do believe all the noise and all the ugliness we read, we actually mitigate most of it as human beings. And I do believe over a long period of time, hope prevails. Now, that being said, there is a role for gold and there's a role for Bitcoin, which I believe are assets of fear. You own these instruments if you're frightened of the debasement of your currency. You own it if you have financial insecurities, or you own it if you have physical insecurities and worries. So that's one of the foundational issues of my journey in understanding crypto more. But today there's about $4.1 trillion sitting in digital wallets, growing very rapidly. Mm-hmm. It has caught attention to people around the world. A lot of men and women who are actually fearful of keeping all their money in their currency or storing it in their country where they live. But beyond that, the opportunity for tokenization is probably the most important component of how we are going to see the evolution of the financial plumbing of the world. There's just too many middlemen in so many different areas. Jenny talked about it earlier, but there's just way too many middlemen in the process. And the reality is, if we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future. I do believe more transactions are going to be done digitally with authentication of ownership. Now, obviously, should the whole financial system be on one blockchain? What does that mean? How do we protect ourselves? So there are obviously a lot of things we have to address to make that work. But I do see more and more of a future of having more and more financial assets being digitized, sitting in a singularity of a blockchain, and going from cash to stocks to bonds back and forth, doing that seamlessly. And I do believe that is going to happen sooner, not later.
So you can see a couple of things, okay? So the first thing is, and this is a mantra that I would love to give you guys now at this phase of the market, right? The market is correcting, and that's totally normal. We are not even in panic mode or anything like that, right? We just lost 5% in the indexes like QQQ or NASDAQ. But Ken Griffin says something very, very important. In bear markets, usually the retail investors, so retail investors I classify by persons that are not so much sophisticated on the market yet, and they are capitulating at the worst times ever. So don't be that guy that sells exactly at the bottom and you think, 40, it will never go up again. 30, it will never go up again. It will go up in the future. So don't capitulate at the absolutely bottom, because then you will be just, biting your own ass. Okay. Like at that will be super, super annoying. Okay. So, but they are talking also that crypto and tokenization is so huge, guys. Okay, it's among the most biggest revolutionary, and if it's coming from the mouth of the two biggest guys on Wall Street, then it's something that you should very listen very carefully. Okay, you see that they are pushing this narrative for so long, and every single day on the biggest panels in the world, on the biggest interviews in the world, if you see something like that, then you should really be careful and follow this kind of logic that the biggest houses on Wall Street are actually actually looking for that next big thing, and this is crypto, and this is the tokenization of everything. And guess what? This is exactly where Bitmine position themselves, okay? They are exactly saying, hey, we will provide financial services to everyone out there with Bitmine, with Ethereum. So I think this is absolutely insane. I love it. And let me know in the comments what you think. And I see you obviously tomorrow for a brand new vlog. And don't forget, the grass is greener always on the other side.